Have you ever felt like you're just an option, a backup plan in someone's eyes? The feeling of being undervalued and not taken seriously is truly heartbreaking. You yearn to be the one they can't live without, not just a fleeting choice. Imagine spending weeks planning a romantic date, only to have it canceled at the last minute because they're suddenly busy. You send countless messages every day, only to wait in vain for a brief reply. You invest your time, energy, and emotions, but all you get in return is the feeling of being abandoned and forgotten. You start to doubt yourself. Am I not good enough? What did I do wrong? The harder you try, the further they seem to drift away. It's like chasing a mirage, hoping that if you give just a little more, they'll finally see your worth. But the harsh truth is, the more you chase, the more you reinforce the idea that you're just an option. The relationship becomes a burden instead of a joy. And for those who have just gone through a breakup, you gave them everything, but it still wasn't enough, and now they're gone. And all you want is for them to realize what they've lost. But the more you focus on them, the more you give away your own power. It's painful, but there's a way out of this vicious cycle. A secret from ancient Greece can completely change how others perceive and treat you: Stoicism. Stoicism teaches us not to place our happiness and self-worth in the hands of others. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control how they treat you, but you can control how you react. When you shift your focus from seeking their approval to prioritizing your own growth and happiness, everything changes. Think about it. What if instead of waiting for them to recognize your worth, you start demonstrating it to yourself? If you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, their opinion will no longer define your value. That's how you transform from being an option to a priority, not just for them, but for yourself. So let's affirm together. I love myself. Write it down, say it out loud, because when you start prioritizing yourself, you radiate a strength and confidence that can't be ignored. And now, let's embark on a journey to discover and conquer the best version of yourself. But before we begin, I have a small request. Please take a second to like this video and hit the subscribe button. By doing so, you'll officially become part of our community, those who love self-reliance and refuse to be defeated by anyone. One of the primary reasons why the other person isn't afraid of losing you is because you lack appreciation and value for yourself. This value doesn't just come from knowing what you deserve in a relationship, but also from setting clear boundaries and standards for anyone entering your life. Many people make the mistake of forgiving too easily for repeated mistakes, giving the other person the chance to continue behaving disrespectfully. To make others truly fear losing you, you need to establish firm and clear boundaries, refusing to tolerate unacceptable behaviors. Let's consider an example of a relationship where someone continuously forgives a lack of respect. Suppose you're dating someone who frequently cancels plans at the last minute without a valid reason. Initially, you feel frustrated but still choose to accept and forgive, hoping they will change. However, if you keep forgiving without setting clear boundaries, the other person will begin to downplay the seriousness of your commitment to the relationship. They may think they can always get away with it without any consequences. This gradually becomes a habit, and you become the person who's always waiting and adjusting to them, causing your self-worth to diminish. To avoid this situation, you need to set clear boundaries and consistently uphold them. When the other person behaves disrespectfully, instead of just expressing your displeasure and then accepting their apology, you should send a clear message that such behavior is unacceptable. For example, you could say, I cannot continue in a relationship where I am always placed second. If you keep canceling plans like this without a good reason, I will need to reconsider this relationship. This shows that you respect your own value and do not tolerate being treated disrespectfully. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, said, "One, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This means that instead of just talking about your value, you must act to protect it. Setting boundaries not only shows the other person that you're not easily hurt or willing to endure inappropriate behavior, but also reinforces your self-worth. When you stand firm on your boundaries, the other person will realize that to keep you in their life, they need to change and respect you more. Consider another example of a relationship where your partner has a habit of flirting with others. Instead of forgiving easily every time they apologize and make promises, you need to make it clear that this behavior is unacceptable. You might say, "I cannot accept a relationship where my trust is continuously broken. If this continues, we cannot stay together." When you set this boundary and remain steadfast, the other person will understand that the risk of losing you is real and will have to reconsider their actions. As Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means that instead of reacting emotionally every time the other person does something wrong, you should focus on controlling your response rationally. Don't just threaten to leave and then relent. Instead, follow through with what you say if the other person does not respect your boundaries. This not only makes them realize that you are serious about your values and boundaries, but also helps you gain confidence in your self-worth. Establishing boundaries not only protects you from emotional harm, but is also a way to demonstrate self-respect and self-worth. When you show that you have standards and will not accept inappropriate behavior, you naturally become more attractive in the eyes of the other person. They will recognize that you are not someone who can be easily taken for granted, but rather a person of high value, which makes them more afraid of losing you. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, and that respect begins with you maintaining your own value. Ultimately, setting boundaries does not mean creating distance. It means defining what is acceptable and what is not. This helps the other person understand that you have standards and will not be easily swayed by apologies or sweet talk. When you respect and love yourself, the other person will feel compelled to appreciate and strive not to lose you. This is the power of establishing boundaries in love. The second reason why someone may become bored and not fear losing you is that you are too dependent on them, on their emotions, and you lack your own direction or joy in life. Many people, once they have a partner, husband or wife, stop wanting to develop themselves further. They stop striving for a more meaningful life, stop learning, stop progressing, and stop upgrading themselves. As a result, their whole world revolves around the other person, making them less attractive. Think about it. People are usually afraid of losing something valuable, right? For example, if you become more beautiful, handsome, talented, or charismatic, surely more people will admire, love, and pursue you. In that case, your partner will fear losing you and regret it if you are no longer there. But if you are just a miserable person, constantly dependent, suffering, and unable to control your thoughts and emotions, with a life filled only with negativity and sadness, who would regret losing you? People only regret losing something beautiful and noble. No one regrets losing something at the bottom, right? Let's consider an example. Imagine you are in a relationship and spend most of your time waiting for messages, calls, or simply longing to be with that person. You no longer spend time on personal hobbies, learning new skills, or taking care of your health or appearance. Instead of developing yourself, you focus solely on tracking the other person's emotions and depend on their approval to feel happy. This makes you boring and less attractive because your life no longer has anything interesting to offer. On the other hand, consider another example. If you start learning a new language, pursuing a long-held passion, or engaging in sports and physical activities, you will feel more confident and full of energy. You become enthusiastic and inspiring, not just to yourself, but to those around you. Your partner will notice this change and begin to fear losing you. They will realize that you do not rely on them for happiness, which makes you more appealing. You become someone they want to hold on to because you are growing and living a meaningful life. Therefore, to maintain attractiveness and make the other person fear losing you, you must focus on self-development and cultivate an independent, joyful, and passionate life. Always keep your goals, ambitions, and personal interests alive. This will not only help you feel happier, but also add value to yourself, making others fear losing you. People only regret losing something beautiful and noble. No one regrets losing what has sunk to the bottom. Next, in a relationship, maintaining a bit of mystery about yourself is essential to keep the other person attracted to you. You should not reveal everything about yourself right from the start. Instead, create curiosity and desire, allowing them the opportunity to discover and understand you gradually. Mystery creates a natural attraction that makes the other person always feel drawn to you and want to know more about you. This is the art of balancing openness with keeping some things private. For example, consider how you use messaging in communication. Don't send too many messages or make them too long. Sending short, concise messages that still convey interest will create a sense of anticipation and excitement in the recipient. Instead of constantly texting to check in or sharing too many details about yourself, leave some gaps that make them wonder about you. The frequency of messages should also be controlled, not too often, which can become boring and predictable. When you send too many consecutive messages or reply too quickly, it can make the other person feel that there is nothing more interesting to discover about you. Imagine playing a game of hide and seek. If you reveal yourself right from the beginning, the game quickly ends, and there is no longer any excitement. Similarly, in a relationship, if you show everything about yourself from the start, the other person will no longer feel the excitement of discovering who you are. People naturally crave and are curious about things that are mysterious, things they do not yet fully know. When you maintain a bit of mystery, you will always be a big question mark in their mind, making them want to spend time getting to know and win you over. For instance, you could tell an interesting story about yourself, but only reveal a small part. For example, you might say you once had a memorable adventure, but don't go into detail about it. Leave an open-ended statement like, "It's a long story. Maybe I'll share more when we have the chance." This will make them curious and eager to hear more from you. Another example is not responding to messages immediately. Instead, wait a little while before replying. This creates a brief period that allows the other person to wonder what you are doing, what you are thinking, and feel more excited when they finally hear from you. This small waiting period creates anticipation and makes them feel that you are not so easily accessible, that you have your own interesting life and are not dependent on them. Keeping a bit of mystery does not mean you have to be secretive or overly confusing. It simply means not revealing everything about yourself immediately, leaving parts that the other person needs to gradually uncover. By doing this, you not only create a more engaging and surprising relationship, but also maintain long-term attraction in their eyes. Mystery is the key element that helps sustain the flame of passion and interest, making the other person always want to get closer to you. Finally, making them jealous can be an effective way to maintain interest and love in your relationship. However, this approach must be used subtly and should not be overused, as it could lead them to think that you are not sincere and create unnecessary misunderstandings. Jealousy can be a spice that makes love more exciting and profound, but it must be applied in the right amount to avoid causing hurt or loss of trust. To apply this method effectively, you can casually mention a small story from your daily life. For example, you might say that a friend of the opposite sex invited you out to lunch, but you declined because you wanted to focus on work or already had plans with your partner. This not only shows them that others are interested in you, but also demonstrates that you know how to turn down inappropriate relationships to focus on your current relationship. The jealousy here is not a blind or controlling jealousy, but a light worry that helps the other person recognize your value and be aware that they should not neglect or underestimate your feelings. Another way to spark subtle jealousy is to mention a new, talented member in the club you are part of. You could describe this person's outstanding qualities such as intelligence, sense of humor, or special skills. However, when talking about this person, you must ensure not to sound too enthusiastic or overly focused on them. Just mention it lightly and smoothly change the topic to avoid creating insecurity for your partner. This helps your loved ones see that you are someone who is admired and loved by many, but they don't need to worry excessively because you always know your limits. Additionally, you can gently make them feel jealous by spending time on personal activities, meeting friends, or pursuing your hobbies. When you have a full and meaningful personal life, it not only makes you more attractive in their eyes, but also creates a little worry that they might lose your attention if they do not put more effort into the relationship. However, be careful not to appear too distant or too focused on your personal life to the point that your partner feels neglected or unimportant. Being subtle and making your partner feel jealous requires you to understand their psychology and know when to stop. When applied skillfully, this method can act as a catalyst to maintain interest and enhance affection. On the contrary, if overused, it can easily backfire, causing your partner to feel insecure, mistrustful, or even hurt. Instead of fostering love, you might unintentionally push them away. Therefore, remember that the purpose of making your partner jealous should be just to create a slight sense of worry, enough for them to appreciate you more, not to cause unnecessary tension or conflict. I believe that deep within you lies a hidden strength, a flame waiting to be ignited. You have the power to change the game, to break free from the shackles of being undervalued, and to step into the position you deserve, a priority, not an option. Imagine yourself as a phoenix, rising from the ashes, stronger and more vibrant than ever before. Stoic philosophy will be your wings, lifting you up, helping you see your true worth and attract healthy relationships where you are loved and respected. Remember the strategies we've explored together. Practice them every day, little by little. As you focus on self-development, nurturing your inner self and shining from within, you'll see the world around you change. You'll attract people who value you, who see your radiant light and want to walk alongside you on life's journey. Never forget that you deserve love and respect. Believe in yourself, take courageous steps, and let the world witness the best version of you. Because you're not just an option, you're a priority, an irreplaceable one.